Hello crafty friends, it's Donna here from Donna is Playing Paper, and I've got a slimline card for you today and a cheeky bonus card at the end. When I saw the candy cane die on the Paper Rose Studio website, I knew straight away what I wanted to do with it. And so to begin with, I'm going to be colouring up some watercolour paper. I have inks in Spun Sugar, Worn Lipstick, Abandoned Coral, and Candied Apple. However, you can just ignore that Spun Sugar because it's going to be lost in the mix and I'm going to use it later for a different part of the card. I'm using Ranger's Distress watercolour cardstock for this card. I like that it's a really crisp white compared to many watercolour cards. If I'm making a soft muted card, then the more creamy watercolour paper is fine. But for Christmas and red and white, I really wanted something nice and bright, and so I've chosen this watercolour paper. First, I've wet that whole sheet of paper, and I'm just spreading some ink over this paper, and then I'll dry it off and go back in with another layer. I want there to be a nice gradient from a light pink in one corner to dark red at the far end, so that I can get a really good range of colours when I cut out my candy canes. Here's the final piece of paper with a nice range of colours that I can use there. This die is called the Small Candy Cane with Bow die. Paper Rose Studio has a bunch of different dies, but this is the one I wanted to use. It comes with this stripy die and also a choice of two backgrounds so that you can make your candy canes either with or without the borders. I've cut the stripy pieces out of my coloured cardstock, and I'll poke out the holes in a second. And then I'm layering them up with some white backgrounds. I used the die without the border for this card because I want to get as many candy canes as I can onto my card. I'm just masking off the bottom of a slimline card. This card base is from Paper Rose Studio. And you can see that I actually use the lines on my grid mat to line up my washi tape to make sure that it's nice and even. And I've just slid a piece of paper under the bottom because I'm not known for my neatness. This time the Spun Sugar is being used, but I've chosen a Distress Oxide because I think it blends better, especially on just regular cardstock. Then I'm watering down some white gouache with water, obviously. What else do you water down with? And I'm splashing it all over my background. It looks a bit like snow. Then it's simply a matter of popping up my candy canes with some foam tape and adding a sentiment. Wishing you joy this season comes from a sentiment set called Crisp Christmas Sentiments. If you run around the outside with a black marker, then it hides the white core of the card. And then I had one candy cane left, so I'm going to make a cheeky little bonus card. I'm using the Vintage Labels 2 nested die set. I'm going to cut one that's just a good size to fit my candy cane. I'm using the next size up to cut a nice red border for that. And then I've grabbed a bigger die, and then using a rubber mat in my die cutting machine, I'm running that through to create an indentation on the card. Without a hard back to cut into, and with a softer pressure, instead of cutting, the die will just leave an impression, which is a nice way to stretch your dies. It's just a quick matter of layering that up and this second card is done. I'm going to leave you with some close-up pictures of the cards. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye for now.